The morning light seeped through the blinds, casting a pattern of stripes across the room where Zach sat hunched over his laptop. A fortress of crumpled papers and enough coffee cups surrounded him like the aftermath of a bureaucratic battle. His fingers danced across the keyboard with mechanical precision, decrypting data from the notebook salvaged from Angela Horowitz's home, most of which he had already typed up. The screen flickered with strings of text as she peeled back the layers of coded information, each keystroke potentially bringing him closer to the missing psychiatrist. Find anything? Mike's voice cut through the silence as she joined him, her eyes, sharp with analytical prowess, focused on the deciphered data, strolling down the string, bits and pieces. Zach muttered, his mind churning with theories of calculation, coordinates, names, dates of different projects, all scattered. It's like piecing together a shattered mirror. Let me help. Maya leaned in, their shoulders brushed suddenly, and in adverted touch to the intimacy of their shared mission. I doubt you're going to find much, as I said. I've been at this for a few hours already. She raised an eyebrow. You don't believe in sleep, do you? He shrugged one shoulder. I sleep when I'm dead, or when you solve this case, whichever comes first. Mike's tone was teasing, but underscored with a hint of concern. Zach felt her studying him from the corners of her eyes. He cracked a smile at her remark, his fingers never ceasing their relentless dance on the keyboard. If it means finding Angela Horowitz, Maya nodded, her eyelashes casting long shadows across her high cheekbones as she frowned at the laptop screen in concentration. Then suddenly she straightened. Look at that, she said, pointing to a string of numbers that seemed unremarkable to the untrained eye. I just decrypt those, Zach said. As far as what they mean, though, could be coordinates, latitude and longitude. Zach's pulse quickened. Well, of course. Why didn't I think of that? He murmured. Sleep. Preparation, maybe. He rolled his eyes at her. Then, wasting no time, he ran the numbers through a mapping software, and a satellite image of a mansion perched on the edge of the Hollywood Hills materialized on the screen, elegant and imposing. The property clung to the cliffs like a modern-day fortress, its terraces overlooking the sprawling city below. Looks like I best leave yet, Zed said, though his gut tightened at the thought of Angela in the clutches of unknown captors within those walls, assuming those numbers really are latitude and longitude. Time for a recon, then, Maya asked, her tone suggesting readiness for action. First, we need a plan. Zach's fingers paused above the keyboard as he considered the challenges of infiltrating such a location. It would require stealth, precision, and a thorough understanding of what they were up against. He immersed himself in research, scouring public records and satellite imagery or for any advantage. He memorized every entry, every blind spot, internalizing the layout until the blueprint was etched in his mind. The best way to approach the house would be from the wooded hills back here, Zach said, tracing a line on the satellite image with his index finger. There's cover in the foliage, and it seems to be outside the security camera's line of sight. Mike nodded, studying the string closely. Do we have any idea what kind of security system they're working with inside? Not sure, Zach admitted, putting up another page of research. Public records indicate a top-grade system was installed 5 years ago, but there's no way to know if it's been updated since. Maya sighed, pinching the bridge of her nose. This is risky. If we're discovered, I know, Zach cut in, giving her a stern look, but it's a risk we have to take if we want to find Angela. We won't do her much good if we're dead, and if we try to do things perfectly, she might be killed. We have no idea. She exhaled slowly, rolling her shoulders back as she straightened up. All right, then. What's our game plan? Our game plan, Zach said, thinking on his feet, is that I go in and keep watch from a distance. Maya shook her head firmly. No way. If we both go in, we'll both be blind. Blindness is better than helplessness, somebody said. She locked her gaze with Zach's, the resolve in her eyes matching his own. I'm not letting you walk into potentially hostile territory alone. Zach leaned back in his chair, the squeaking of his springs protesting softly around the room as he regarded her with a thoughtful stare. Her determination was admirable, formidable, even. It didn't change his plans, though. And I'm not letting you get killed in there, he said. I don't want your blood on my hands. She crossed her arms. You don't think I can handle myself? I know you can handle yourself, Zach said, holding her gaze steadily, but there are too many unknowns. We can't predict what they might have in there, he signed, his tone softening. Besides, I need someone to keep watch and tell me what's going on around me. I need you, Mike. She stared at him, clearly not liking this plan. Fine, she muttered evenly, or eventfully, her gaze breaking from his to survey the detailed map sprawled across the stream. But I want reliable comms at all times of high-tech earpieces, small discrete coils of wire that could be molded to fit in the ear. They were designed for stealth operation, ensuring a clear line of communication without risking discovery. Maya hesitated for a moment before taking one, her fingers brushing lightly against his as she did. Let's get to work then, she said, packing in her earpiece. If Miss Horowitz in there, there's no telling what she could be going through right now. Zach approached the mansion under the disguise of the mid-morning haze. Ever since attuned to his environment, the lush greenery surrounding the property provided ample cover, enabling Zach to move closer without detection. The armed men patrolling the perimeter wore tactical gear that suggested military training. Their movements disciplined and methodical. Check, Maya said, her voice filling Zach's ear. Can you hear me? She was nearby, positioning in a concealed spot among the foliage high up on the hillside, armed with her tech and a bird's eye view of the mansion. Loud and clear, he replied, quietly, scanning through the bushes for any hidden security cameras. He had the door low as one of the guards walked by, his boots crunching over dry leaves. 2 guards at the front entrance. Maya reported another patrol in the back terrace. Roger that, Zach murmured, creeping closer to the mansion. Through a gap in the verdant landscaping, he saw a state-of-the-art security camera nestled above a side door. He couldn't risk being seen. Any indication of Angela? Zach asked, his heart pounding against his rib cage. Not yet, Maya admitted, her voice thick with worry. I'm hacking into their security feeds now. While she worked her magic from afar, Zach made his way towards the back of the mansion. The quiet chirpings of birds matched the sound of his movements, the soft crunch of leaves underfoot. The mansion's loom overhead, its grandeur intimidating against the backdrop of clear morning sky. Done, Maya's voice cracking in his ear. I got visual on most of the rooms now. And Angela, Zach asked, peering from behind a large oak at the back entrance of her yet. I'll keep looking. As Zach reached the side entrance he had scouted earlier, he paused to assess the situation. A keypad lock, no doubt with a code that changed regularly, guarded the door. Zach cursed softly. I got a keypad here, he whispered to Maya. Think you can hack it? There's no manual override option, she noted, her tone grim. Give me a moment. As Maya worked, Zach kept his eyes trained on the mansion. His heart pounded like a drum in his chest, each beat echoing the precious seconds that were ticking away in his mind. He replayed his contingency plan, a list of escape routes burning bright and clear. Got it, Maya finally announced, the relief palatable in her voice. The code is 4962. Zach quickly punched in the numbers. The lock beeped once, and he signed in relief as it disengaged, letting him into the mansion. Now, how in the world did you do that here? A good magician never reveals her secrets, Mike replied, a playful lit to her voice, despite the situation. You have 5 minutes before the code resets. Move. Stealthily, Zach slipped through the door and moved into an open hallway decked with Renaissance paintings and ornate chandeliers. The door clicked shut behind him, a honey sound in the hushed silence of the mansion. Zach's eyes adjusted to the dim light, scanned for any signs of movement. Whiskers twitch will betray a presence to his home senses. In the periphery of his vision, a hulking silhouette materialized, a guard strolling by, unaware of Zach's presence. In the movement, though, the guard might turn his head and spot Zach. Seizing the moment, Zach lunged forward, his hand clasping over the man's mouth with the precision of a strong trap. With a fluid motion born of countless drills, he dragged the struggling body into an adjacent room, repository for expensive-looking art pieces. Zach pushed the man against a painting of a storm, tossed seas, then drew his Glock, now fitting with a suppressor, and pointed it at the man's chest. In loud noises, he said, "And I put one through your heart." The man, a burly brute with a scar slash across one cheek, nodded silent, his blue eyes wide with fear. He made no move to resist. "Good," Zach murmured. "Now tell me, where's Angela Horowitz?" The man's eyes widened, confusion etching his features before they set into a mask of defiance. "Who? I don't know any Angela." Zach fixed him with a glare. "One that had wilter, stronger wills than this. Don't play games with me. Lies are at stake. Look, buddy, I don't know who the hell you're talking about. And who are you? What are you doing here?" "I'm just a hired gun," the man confessed. Preparation starting to bead on his forehead. "Security? Nobody told me squat. Just to shoot if someone came snooping around without an invite." Zach frowned, tightened his grip on the Glock. "I don't believe you." "Believe what you want," the man retorted, his bravery turning in spokes. "But I don't know any Angela," Zach might said in Zach's earpiece. "I checked all the rooms, but I can't find her anywhere. Maybe we're wrong about this." Zach's heart sank as doubt began to creep in, but this had nothing to do with Angela Horowitz. Then what were these men doing here? Just then he noted a tattoo on the man's chest, a serpent coiled around a dagger, is insignia an unfamiliar but reeking clandestine affiliation. He recognized that tattoo. It was the tattoo of Black Serpent Brotherhood, a gang involved in drug trafficking and international arms deals. The same gang Gallon Fishing had been caught up in. A shuttle ran down Zach's spine. "Something's wrong," Mike said, sounding worried. "I've got several tangos closing in on your position. You need to get out of there now." "Roger that," Zach murmured, nodding. "But first we had to ensure this road element wouldn't be on his trail." "Sorry, pal," he said. "Not sorry at all," as he believed a precise chop to the man's neck, sending him into unconsciousness. The man collapsed on the floor, and Zach swiftly secured him with zip ties, gagged him with good measure, and hid him behind a towering sculpture that looked like it cost more than a small country's GDP. With the final glance at the incapacitated man, Zach hurried out of the room. As Zach crept down the hallway heading for the back door through which he entered the building, a sudden creak broke his concentration. Zach froze, his eyes straining against the silence that followed. The mansion seemed to breathe and exhale a menace before he could pivot. Pain exploding across the back of his skull, vision blurred, eyes ringing. Zach staggered forward, his training kicked in. His body reacted even as his mind followed through the fog of disorientation. Zach twisted instantly, throwing his elbow back and feeling the jarring impact of bone on bone. A grunt, and then the clattering of dropped weapons. His attackers were momentarily stunned, and Zach didn't waste the opportunity. He lunged, hands grappling for leverage, a knee driving up to meet resistance with unyielding force. Breathe, whoosh, out of the assailant, and Zach shoved hard, sending the man crashing into a nearby wall. Free once more, Zach took a moment to steady himself before dashing for the exit. Several shouts pursued Zach as he shoved the door open and raced out. Then there was the distance riding a gunfight, and he hurled around the building as bullets kicked up little clouds of dust around him. Go, 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 someone shouted. Zach sprinted, feet pounding on the cobblestone pathway, zigzagging between bursts of gunfire. There was a boom from the hillside as Maya opened fire with her high-powered rifle. Take the car, she told Zach. I cover you. They'll hunt you down, he answered. She picked me up at the road. I'll meet you there. There was no time to argue. Zach reached the car, a nondescript sedan chosen for its blendability rather than speed, and threw himself inside. He turned the key in the ignition, and the engine roared to life. Zach threw the vehicle into gear, tires screeching as he tore out of the driveway. The rearview mirror flashed with the rapid approach of headlights, muscular vehicles spilling forth from the mansion. They were organized, relentless, and now they were directly on his tail, their engine snarling like a beast unleashed. Up ahead, Zach saw Maya pelting down the hillside. He slammed the brakes, watching in silence agony as the vehicle behind them cut the distance. Get in, he shouted at her. Maya ripped the door open and jumped inside. Zach gunned the engine even before she had a chance to close the door. Asphalt and rubble screamed in protest as he pushed the sedan to its limits, weaving through the treacherous terrain. Each twist and turn to dance with death. Zach's hands were vice grips on the steering wheel, each tender standing out like cable wires under his skin. Storefronts and pedestrians merged into a busy watercolor that stained the edges of Zach's vision. He swirled around a delivery truck, earning the streets of brakes and angry shouts that dissipated into the air behind him. The pulse in his ears drowned out the noise of the city, and for a moment it was just him, the car, and the relentless mission that drove him forward. San Francisco iconic hills rose before them, each incline a challenge to their getaway. As they crest one particular steep slope, the bay spread out before them, a glittering expanse of blue dotted with white sails and cargo ships. The Golden Gate Bridge loomed in the distance, its vermilion towers standing sleek and clean against the pale sky. A cable car packed with tourists trombled across their path. Zach wrenched the wheel, tires screeching as they narrowly avoided a collision. The faces of sightseers flashed by, their carefree day bluntly interrupted by the high-speed chase. The van behind them was relentless, its driver clearly skilled in pursuit. It matched them turn for turn, gaining ground whenever Zach was forced to slow for traffic or pedestrians. The weight of their situation pressed down on Zach like a physical force. He had to find a way to lose their pursuer. As they approached Fisherman's Raft, the scent of salt water and seafood was overshadowed by the stench of burning rubber and fear. Zach's heart throbbed against his ribs like a drumbeat or war, each pulse synchronized with the thrumming engine. They were running out of roll and time. The bullet pinched out of the car's frame. Zach veered left, nearly avoiding collision with a wayward coyote that trotted across the road, his eyes reflecting the chaos for a split second before disappearing into the brush. Zach, listen, Maya said. There's a construction zone up ahead. Perfect. He cut in, already formulating a plan. As the orange warning lights loomed ahead, he prepared to take a gamble. Serving into the construction site, tires was crunching over gravel. Zach navigated the labyrinth of the machinery and half-finished roads. The shadows cast by the equipment were long and disorienting, perfect for his purpose. He veered off the side and threaded the sedan between the parked bulldozer and a mound of dirt. The proximity scraping paint off the doors with a sound like tearing fabric. He slammed the brakes, waiting. 2, 3 vehicles zipped past along the road. Zach waited, ready to release there might be a fourth, but no one else appeared. For now, at least their escape pursuit. I called my superiors, Maya said, and have them organize a raid. They searching for buildings. Thoroughly interrogate everyone they find. If there's anyone to find by then, Zach thought, this plan did little to appease him. They had learned nothing of Angela Horwitz's whereabouts, which meant they had only given her kidnappers more time to kill her and hide her body, maybe, or time to use her for something else, some nefarious purpose related to an attack at Montrose. And all Zach could do was lick his wounds and hope for a stroke of luck.